Live from the City of Angels on this Sunday night. You're watching MMT Sunday Evening Spectacular. We're getting to Dune in a moment, but I'm going to set the show up. Is A24 a cult? Hell yes, it is. And I'll explain that coming up. Also, Michael Mann, please step aside for Heat 2. I'll explain why he needs to do that. Also, PoorThings still sucks. We'll discuss coming up. But we begin with Dune Part 2 with debut of $178.5 million. This is nearly identical to Oppenheimer. In fact, someone came in the comments from this morning's breaking box office asking why are you comparing the two? Because they're identical. They're essentially the same number after the worldwide debut of 180 million. Now, remember, these numbers are a little bit in flux. We could see it go up tomorrow from Warner Brothers with the actuals because the estimate Sunday, but we'll find out. But I'll tell you what, it's almost Oppenheimer 2. It's the same exact situation when you look at these numbers. Domestically, 81.5 million, which is just a shade under where Oppenheimer landed at 82.5. We'll see what happens when the actuals come out tomorrow. Internationally, 97 million. Worldwide, 178.5. Quickly on the biggest countries. If you missed breaking box office, we do that show live about 9:15, 9:30 in LA here on Sunday mornings. Quickly, US 81.5, UK 11.8, 9.6 for France, Germany 9.1, Korea 6.9, Australia 6.0, Mexico 3.9, Italy 3.9, Spain 3.5. Important to note that China comes in next week and Japan the week after. China was good to the first film, made almost 40 million there. How much did Oppenheimer make? Over 60 million. So if Dune can get, let's say, 60, 70, 80 million out of China, that's going to be massive. As we've seen, so many of these MCU films didn't open in China and they were affected with the box office. Look at the Batman, what happened to that with China, also with Russia. These are big markets that you're missing, and that's a lot of cash. So it'll have those coming in. The important thing to note here, as we go over some of the factoids from this $180 million call it debut, is will people see this movie twice? That's going to be essential to this film racking up a number that pushes it past 700. Initially, remember what I told you guys, 775 is my number for this worldwide. If it goes above that number or under that number, let's put that as our target. It needs to have multiple viewings by moviegoers. Will you see this film more than once? I'm going to answer that question. I told you after seeing Dune 2, I'm not in a rush to see it again. It's long. It feels long, right? I know it's longer than the first, but it also, for me, just feels longer for whatever reason other than the fact that it is actually longer. And that might be an issue here as we go forward. It's got the A Cinema score, which means incredible word of mouth or very, very strong. And as such, that will help as people who sat this one out will go to the multiplex. Another thing is, remember, those PLF screens were so key for this film, as they were for Oppenheimer. People were lined up to go see Oppenheimer in IMAX 70 millimeter up at Universal, sold out for weeks. The same kind of thing setting up here for Dune Part 2 that's up there in IMAX 70 millimeter. It's sold out. And if you're in the first couple of rows there, you might as well stay home because you can't see shit. You're like staring at someone's eyeball. It is so close. That screen is so big, but you have a lot of people that are putting this off because they want to see the film in the best possible cinema that's available, and that would be IMAX 70 millimeter, just like I saw Tenet in that format here last week, and what an experience that was. Quickly, domestically, let's go through some of this. If you missed the stream this morning, we'll make it nice and tight for you. 48% of the business this weekend from PLF screens. That's IMAX, that's Dolby, that's 70 millimeter, motion seating, whatever it is that is an upcharge, a better screen. 48% of audiences chose that option. Record-breaking IMAX opening in March, 18.5 overall million on this just for IMAX. Top 10 locations, go over a few of those. Lincoln Square AMC, number 1. TCL Chinese here in Hollywood, number 2. 3, Cineplex, Bank of Scotia in Montreal. Why? Because remember, Denis is Canadian. So you see a couple of Canadian cities here, Montreal and Toronto, showing up in the top 10. Interestingly enough, AMC Burbank's at number 6. What happened, guys? Why did we not represent? Why are we not number 1? We're better than New York City. AMC Burbank's the number 1 flagship AMC in the universe. Top 10 DMA, LA, New York, San Francisco, Toronto, Dallas, on and on it goes. And important to note, if I didn't mention this morning, I think I got to most of this, but the largest opening of all time for Denis, for Timothy, for Rebecca Ferguson, and Austin Butler. Not for Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh would be Oppenheimer and or Black Widow. Probably Oppenheimer, right? Because I think it's a little higher than Black Widow, which opened right during the COVID nightmare that we all had to live through. And then you also look at Zendaya, who has the Spider-Man movies. So that's why she's not listed here. Someone got all uppity with me in my tweet this morning. Why don't you have her listed? Why don't you have Zendaya? I'm like, because she was in Spider-Man and it's a bigger film. I know, shocking, right? But look, here's the Oppenheimer email. I want to pull this up. And I was digging through my emails to see what this film debuted at worldwide. Look at this, 180.4. I told you, they're identical. Look, Nolan and Denis are essentially viewed, certainly cinephiles, as two directors that you mobilize, you go, and you get to the movie ASAP. They're virtually the same audience. I mean, think about that. You have identical between Oppenheimer and Dune 2. Maybe a little bit of the younger crowd, okay? Maybe just a little more than Oppenheimer. But don't tell, I'm telling you, parents took their kids to Oppenheimer. I saw him in my screen. He's like, what? You guys, this is a 3-hour drama. What are you doing? Listen, it's better than taking them to see the Human Centipede, right? At least there's that. At least these parents aren't terrible parents. But again, really, listen, if you were to ask me, how's this show up? How's this shape up? Would you say this is successful? Of course it's successful. It's 180 million, and it's essentially the same number as Oppenheimer, which had Barbie to help bolster it, the Barbenheimer effect. This is all by itself. In some ways, that's a benefit because you got to remember that Oppenheimer didn't have Dolby, didn't have, I don't believe it had Prime. It had IMAX. It had 70 millimeter. They did not have the Dolby screens, and I think they shared Prime, or maybe that even went to Barbie. They had to split it because both films were killing it. In fact, Barbie was actually doing better. This time around, Dune owns the show. They can call anything they want, any shot, any theater, they're getting those screens. So if you want to say that Dune 2 has an advantage in Oppenheimer, that's it right there. No one's talking about the fact that it owns all the screens. Did you see the film? What do you think of the opening? A few comments here before we roll into the rest of the show. We're going to make this sucker fly tonight on this Sunday night. Thanks for being here. If you have not given me a like or a sub, why not? Just do it. It's free. Thank you, Hamza. Appreciate it for being here, and I really do appreciate the kind words as we get rolling into this. Saw Tenet today in Blu-ray. Not as good as IMAX 70 millimeter. Let me tell you, not even close. Dune 2 is a lot of PLF runway. Exactly, because next up is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I think is going to underperform. I was not impressed with the last Ghostbusters. It was fine. It was not nearly the film that many were praising. Like Menzel was like, oh, Ghostbusters is Afterlife's the best movie of the year. I'm like, what? Sometimes, listen, Menzel sometimes is so wrong. It's like, dude, I didn't see it. I didn't see the tweet. Remember Argyle? Lisa Frankenstein. At some point I got to go, dude, I can't do it. But that film's not going to kill it. But the point here that Animotion's making is 100% accurate, that you don't have anything crowding the marketplace that's going to come in and take those PLF screens. Premium large format, for those of you who've never heard that term. So as such, it will be able to bank as much cash as possible, but I can't stress enough the importance of those repeat viewings. If we do not get those, then Dune 2 will not approach 775 or higher. It'll go lower. Life of Bri. It is a spicy debut. Thank you. I want a little credit for the title of this stream. Christopher Nolan would have loved to meet Kubrick. I think so. I think that, going back to that comment from this morning about why are you comparing Oppenheimer and Dune 2, I mean, that's almost like, what? You're kidding, right? How do you not view these two directors as essentially the same? Now, Nolan has more box office success. even though Denis has had success. He's not like he's released a bunch of art house stuff. As he's progressed, he's gotten bigger. Nolan clearly has way more box office than Denis does. That said, when you view them through the lens of cinephilic directors of singular talent, you're looking at these two, right? Along with a Tarantino, a Bong. We're talking about directors that when you hear they're directing the film, you are going to the film no matter what, right? Scorsese, obviously, from the past and still to today. And we'll talk about Michael Mann coming up, someone who's lost it. No question, Michael Mann's lost it. Compared to where he was in the 90s, early 2000s, it's not even the same guy. You watch Ferrari if you haven't seen it. We'll get into that in a minute. But when you look at these directors that move the box office, you know why these studios are desperate to work with them. They'll move mountains to get this thing done. I mean, you look at the idea that I gave Warner Brothers the idea for Tenet and The Return in IMAX. You saw it. I have the proof. A jury would convict Warner Brothers of stealing my idea. I'm happy with it because I got to see it. I'd like a little more credit, but it is what it is. As long as I know, I'm good. But if you look at what they did, they rebuilt that bridge, right, with Nolan, so hopefully he can get his next film. And I don't know, has he signed with Universal for the next? We'll find out, because trust me, the two of them will wage all-out World War III to get that film because of what Nolan does. There's no director bigger than Nolan when you look at his box office, right? He singularly puts butts in seats. That doesn't happen with many. Denis is getting very close, and I think even, let's hope we get another film. I want Denis to kind of take a break here. I want to see something else from him. I want to see a Prisoners, another Arrival, something that is going to be a different thing for him, cleanse the palate, and then return for Dune 3 Messiah, right? Give me, because we all do better when we kind of put something down for a little bit and then return to it. Even the stream, I used to be doing it 3 days a week. Now it's maybe 2, like 1.5 streams. You don't even count the breaking box office. These longer 1 hour streams. And I think it's better because I feel more refreshed. I can get away from it and then come back to it, rejuvenated. I'd like to see Denis do something different in between now and Dune 3. And the other thing that will do for the Dune franchise, it will rebuild interest in the film. Remember, the greatest artists give us time off. Taylor Swift has an album coming out here soon. I would advise her to wait an entire year. We have been inundated with Taylor Swift for well over a year now. And it's to the point where people are tired of Taylor Swift. I know. Listen, I am a defender of Taylor Swift. I have a number of her songs on my gym iPod/phone playlist. But you need a break. Madonna was great at that back in the 80s. Even though they were short breaks, she would have the last single from her album, and then she disappeared for, let's say, 6 months. I don't care. 6 months is 6 months. In Dune's case, I want to see a couple of years. Don't start making Messiah. Make something else. Give us a break. Give yourself a break. And that will be good for everybody. John, Michael Mann should never step down. Here we go. You led us into topic number 2 here tonight. Here's why Michael Mann needs to step aside from Dune, from Heat 2. You guys ready? Here's the tweet that I sent out earlier today after I saw Austin Butler shooting a firearm, practicing his pistol work, getting ready for allegedly, possibly, the Val Kilmer role in the prequel to Heat. If that is the case, I sent this out. Let me show you the tweet first. Let's watch Austin Butler do his gun work here.
That's all I needed.
Very quick. He's a quick draw McGraw.
0, 0, 0, 0.
Wait for it. Look. Whoop. Reload, drop, reload. There it is. He's got the trainer. He's kicking ass. I love Austin Butler. You know the thing about Austin Butler, though, in Dune, he looks kind of jacked. Here he looks kind of skinny again. Do you think they used CGI on Austin Butler? They could have, right? They could have done some CGI on him when he's shirtless. He looks a little bit more buff. I don't know. Maybe he did it for the role and then decided to stop lifting. But as someone who goes to the gym and lifts, you have to continue. It doesn't just show up overnight. It takes time. I wonder if that was that. Okay, so anyhow, once I saw that, sidetrack, welcome to MMT. If you haven't ever been to one of these, all of a sudden we just verge into something else. If anyone has Michael Mann's ear, beg him to relinquish directorial reins on Heat 2 to John Patton Ford. Who is John Patton Ford? John Patton Ford is the director of Emily the Criminal. I adore that film. If you have not seen Emily the Criminal, you need to watch it. That's our MMT must-see tonight. You need to go watch it. And most importantly, forget about Aubrey Plaza, who I think is very good. I want you to watch the direction of John Patton Ford in Emily the Criminal. It is the perfect L.A. crime film. It's very similar in feel to Drive, very similar to Collateral. It's got that L.A. DNA infused in it. And I love John Patton Ford. I can't wait for what he's doing next, although I hear it's for Netflix. Oh my God, what a mistake, John. God almighty. Please, is it too late to have someone come in and buy your film like we're seeing with Monkey Man? Can we please have that happen? Anybody. But John Patton Ford is a hell of a talent, or anybody who's a young up-and-coming directorial talent. If you want to make it a woman, then fine, give it to Rose Glass, although she makes weird shit. But who cares? Here's why. Have you guys seen Ferrari? You need to pay attention to these things. Please listen to me. When you watch Ferrari, you see an 81-year-old director who is not the same director that he was at 52 when Collateral was out, or he's in his early 50s. It's a different dude. He's 30 years older, essentially, right? Roughly in that neighborhood. Between, if you draw the in between, you split the difference between Heat and Collateral. That man was 30 years younger. Let me tell you something. If you add 30 years to me and you come on MMT, I promise you I will not have the same vigor that I have here tonight. I guarantee it. And I tell you what, when you watch Ferrari, you know this man is in a state of diminishing talent. There's not a question in my mind. I don't care if it's his property. He needs to write the script. I don't have a problem with that, but I still would have someone look at the script and say, listen, man, we got to do this and this, and get someone who adores Heat like I do, that treats it like a masterpiece that should be in the same class as a Godfather 1, Godfather 2. So if that's the case, write it. Let him give the film the story and then step the fuck aside. Michael Mann, you're 81 years old. You are too old to do this. You're going to come in someone now and say Scorsese. There are exceptions, but when you watch Ferrari, you need to listen. God, I cannot stress this enough. If you guys can't see middling direction in a film, you don't know what you're doing. When you watch Ferrari, you see a director who has lost it. It's gone. And I don't want him to destroy Heat 2, a film that by all accounts should be amazeballs, right? It really should be something that touches greatness. But if Michael Mann directs this, we are all effed. All of us, because it's not going to be great, because the man has lost his touch. Denis would be perfect for Heat 2. He's got so much style. The problem is, remember, Denis just went on record saying, I don't like dialogue. Heat's about dialogue. Yes, it's about the shootout, obviously, in downtown LA. My God. But it's about dialogue and character. And even though I think Denis gives it the style, I don't think he's the right guy. I'm telling you, for the money, because you're going to get him for a very inexpensive price, you are getting John Patton Ford. This is why one day some studio will bring me in to do their work, because this is what I do that no one else does. What I'm doing here right now, calling out John Patton Ford. Not a single member of Film Twitter could do this. Not one. That's why you're here tonight. Give me a like. I appreciate it. So that's why we got to do these things, because we have to do what is uncomfortable. At times, listen, the world is not a comfortable place. We have to be comfortable with saying uncomfortable things. And that leads me into something that I want to show you guys that I sent out the other night. I saw this tweet, and when I saw it, I said to myself, this is me in a nutshell, and you guys are going to 100% agree when you read this. This is from Kira J. I found this tweet, and I sent it out saying, I feel this in my bones. Listen, you absolutely have to become okay with not being liked. I would say I am one and the same with that. I have no issues with it. I actually welcome it. No matter how loving or kind you are, you will never please people your way into collective acceptance. You could be a whole ray of sunshine and people will hate you because they're used to rain. Be okay with shining regardless. I say this all the time. I don't care about views. I don't care about subs. I don't care about being liked. What I care about is saying truths, saying realities, and saying things that may be uncomfortable, such as Poor Things sucks ass. We'll get to it in a minute. I'm going to hammer an A24 film called Problemista momentarily. You have to be fearless in this space, and no one is. Literally no one has the combination that I possess of being fearless and being correct. Nobody. Not one. Not one. And you guys know it. You know it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And I appreciate you being here. I liked Emily. Oh, here comes Bodie, everybody. Bodie's in the house. I liked Emily the Criminal, but nothing about that. Listen, you weren't paying. Bodie, listen, I'm gonna hammer you. I'm sorry, buddy. You asked for it again. You don't see things. I can't, listen, guys, I can't explain this to you other than you either have the talent or you don't. And Bodie, I'm going to call you out. You don't have the talent. If you don't see the directorial talent of John Patton Ford and the way that film feels and moves and the performance he gets out of Aubrey Plaza and recognize this is direction elevation, then I don't know what to tell you, man. That's the thing. It's like someone who misses the direction in Ferrari is good. How do you consider the edits from the gear shift to the step to the pedal to the it's terrible. Watch Ferrari. It's terrible. The direction isn't even mediocre. It's abysmal. I mean, I would put it for Michael Mann. He is fault. This is someone, and this is going to be totally nasty, and I don't even care. This might be someone who's losing his faculties. And that's not like a joke. That's not like, haha, that's funny. I'm saying for real. If you see someone, if I came on this string and all of a sudden I couldn't string sentences together, or what you noticed was like 1/2 the speed what it was before, you guys would be like, something's wrong with you. Well, if you don't watch Ferrari and say something's wrong with Michael Mann, then I can't help you. You just don't see shit. It's here and you don't see it. We talk about the magic eye all the time, right? You stare at the book and all of a sudden you see the layers. That's what I see. When I watch a film, I see the layers. Boom, 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 boom. If you can't do this, then I can't help you. You have to learn that skill. And trust me when I tell you this, I get DMs every single day from people in this industry that you wouldn't even believe that tell me, dude, your shit is on point. And the reason it is because I can see those things, get better at seeing those things, recognizing them, and be fearless in calling them what they are. Ferrari is a poorly directed film, mediocre at best, and the film screenplay is certainly not interesting, but it's the direction in particularly that is not impressive. It's not naive. It's hard to talk to people if you have a skill set or you recognize something that you know is there. I mean, it's not even a question. Like Poor Things, we're going to talk about in a minute. If you don't recognize that Poor Things is a woman implanted with a baby's brain having sex soon after, and you can't recognize that's problematic, I can't help you. Like I can't do anything for you. How can I help you figure that out? That's something you have to recognize. And if you can't, there's something with you. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. And that's what I have a problem with all the time, are people that don't see this shit. The people that come after me on Twitter. Listen, you're blind. I don't know what to tell you. You don't see these things. And I can't talk to somebody who can't see them. And trust me when I say this, people tell me all the time, I see the same thing. I know it. You're right. This is it. This is that. And again, I can't help you. You have to help yourself. You have to help yourself. Bodie's like back here. It is fun. It's always fun roasting Bodie. That's why what I like is he's always pushing in, like going, listen, I said, it's all good. All right, you guys ready? All right, we'll come back to some of these. We'll circle back to comments. But I want to get to as many topics as possible because we have a lot of people on the replays, right? And I don't want to be bogged down. I love you guys, and I want to talk to all of you on the live stream. We'll do as much as possible. I think I get to as many comments as possible without even making you guys do super chats like Gore, right? Only super chats. I'm not talking to you guys unless you pay me money. Hey, it's cool if you want it, but I don't worry about that stuff. I told you guys. I just like coming on here and ranting and raving, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it here tonight. A24. The cult of A24. We've got to talk again about this. It reared its ugly head for me today as I sat through Problemista. So this is their latest film. I'll pull up the Rotten Tomatoes and we'll see where it stands on the critics versus the audience before I go off on this film. Okay, so here it is. This is Problemista, 91% positive on the Rotten Tomato meter, and then 67% in the audience score. Let's go, audience. Bring it, baby. Bring it home to me. Let's go, because that's more like it. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When I sat through this unfunny, irritating film today, Problemista, that is, let me read you the synopsis, because I'm not about to try to shrink this thing with my own brain after having to watch this film and go, my God, why? I had to sit through Tilda Swinton in possibly the most annoying thing that she's ever done. I can't believe that she said she wanted to make the movie, because the character's totally unredeemable. She's unlikable. I know that's the point, but it's like, my God. Okay, hold on. I got to find it. Now, I have it ready. Okay, here it is. This is the synopsis in one sentence, two sentences. Alejandro is an aspiring toy designer from El Salvador, struggling to bring his unusual ideas to life in New York. He's a toy designer who has ideas like selling Cabbage Patch dolls with a cell phone that has awkward things on the cell phone, like, does my tongue having white dots on it mean I'm going to die? Something like that. Is that okay, I know you're laughing. Just hold on. As time runs out on his work visa, because as we know in the United States now, if you don't get a work visa, they kick everyone out. If you're an illegal immigrant here, you've got to leave. So right off the bat, this movie is Fantasyland, right? We're going to kick you out of the United States. Wait, when have we ever kicked in you? You can murder someone and stay in the United States at this point. A job assisting an erratic art world outcast, Tilda Swinton, so annoying, becomes his only hope to stay in the country. Because again, there's no one is getting kicked out of the country, but yet listen, let me tell you something, Johnny. Here's what I had to experience during this film. I had to experience, this is why A24 is a cult, okay? This is why, because people go to these A24 films and they say to themselves, well, it's A24. It's got to be great. They make everything they do is great. This is the world we live in now. That is the film Twitter world, right? A director of merit, Denis, Nolan, anybody who, obviously Yorgos, we've seen with PoorThings. We're not going to judge the individual art that they just created. We're just going to assume that it's great because things in the past have been great. A24, listen, guys, you guys know how much I adore A24 films going all the way back to Spring Breakers. All those films in between the past decade plus, under unheralded gems like The End of the Tour, one of my favorite films of all time, okay? Ex Machina, about that same time frame. A weird film like Lamb. Go back to Good Time, Ghost Story. Trust me, I'm the biggest A24 stan when their films are good as it gets. But not all their stuff works. And Problemista does not work. But yet, as I'm in this screening today, I'm listening to at least two or three, sounded like women, laugh like what they're watching is the funniest film that's ever been written and shown on a big screen. And if you've been in this, it's like me when I sat through PoorThings. Luckily, that was a small audience and I only had to listen to a little of it. I was like, because I know I'm right. This movie it's not as bad as Beau is Afraid. It's got that same surrealist bullshit kind of feel. But this film is slightly more grounded, but it's super annoying and, like I said, unfunny. But when I'm sitting there listening to these things that are maybe mildly humorous, a tiny shred, and I'm listening to someone go, and I'm like, what the? I'm not even kidding you. I went like this. I was down in like the lower row. I got up and I looked because I want to see what these people look like. I'm not going to say what the answer to that is, but I'm going to tell you this. Film Twitter is a cult. A24 is the god. And what's sad is that people have no critical thinking ability, and they are fearful of saying that A24 could produce a film that is not great, like Problemista. They can't admit it because everything the Almighty God does is the best, and we will worship you and do whatever you say. Like the rest of society these days, let's not just take it from A24 and film Twitter. Politics, my God, like, why so much tribal shit? You can be conservative, you can be liberal, but can't we agree on some things that maybe are a little bit on one side or the other? I certainly can. I'm a critical thinker. I'm a moderate. I'm right in the middle. I really am. Maybe I lean a little bit one way or the other at times, but ultimately, I just call things as they are, not people as labels. So I would never just come out of an A24, oh, it's great, it's A24. No, it's not. In this film, Problemista, the kid in it, who is the director, is, I can't describe to you the annoying level of his performance and the way he waddles around in the movie like that's supposed to be funny. This movie irritated me in a way not as bad as Poor Things and not as bad as Lisa Frankenstein, but they're all in the same blender, and yet I'm being told by film Twitter dweebs that these films are great. And you guys know what I'm talking about. When you're in a cult, you cannot say anything against the cult. That is the reality. I don't know if A24 listen, hold on. That's actually good. Are they too scared to criticize A24, too scared to criticize a film about a gay Latino? I don't care. I don't care if it's about a gay Latino. Doesn't matter. The film's not good. We're not going to celebrate a film because it's a gay Latino. Why are we doing that? Why? Tell me why. You can't. Because we should. That's not good enough. Don't tell me I should celebrate a film because it's about a gay Latino. I'm going to celebrate a film because it's good. And let me tell you something, this gay Latino film is annoying as hell. And even if it weren't a gay Latino, it would still be annoying as hell. Does that drive the point home enough? I hope it does, because it doesn't matter. We don't grade films on a curve because of representation. It'll never happen. And I mean never happen that we will say a film is good because of representation. The film is good because it's good. And Problemista sucks. So there it is, regardless of whether it's a gay Latino. I mean, but how, you guys know I'm right. That's the thing. You guys know what I just said is 100% accurate, and any quote woke soul would be like, he's right. I can't defend that. He's 100% correct. But yet we're still going to virtue signal. We're still going to say this is great. Again, I go home directed by a woman that I've adored, such as St. Maud, such as Aftersun. Two recent examples. And guess what? It didn't matter they are directed by women. It meant 0% in my review. 0. It was talent. And this film is not good. My God. If it's good, it's good. It's not the end of the story. I mean, that's it. It's really, it's all about quality. It's not about representation or any of that shit. The plot, listen, this is not going to be a big hit. I mean, Problemista is it's in the realm of A24 films, this is niche within niche. I think they've been putting this off for months. I saw this trailer, I want to say 8 months ago. Then finally it's here in Burbank. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And I'm just like, well, now I know why they decided just didn't know what to do with it. Let's just dump it in March. It's not an awards film. There's nothing about it that's going to be remembered down the road other than it, the most annoying film of the year. I can't wait for the new A24, obviously Rose Glass, Kristen Stewart. That trailer looks wild. I think the film, here's my problem when I look at Love Lies Bleeding, right? When I look at that trailer, and I watched it for the first time tonight, my fear with that film is Rose Glass went from a very granted, heady and crazy ass psychological thriller in St. Maud, and then said, we're going to now amp up a little more quirk and a little more take it out of the grounded real. I have a feeling that's what she did from watching the trailer with Ed Harris and with Franco. I'm a little bit frightened of what's going to happen with that film because I think, remember, what I always will love is a film that's grounded, and feels real, even if what happens is not necessarily as realistic as it maybe should be. It still feels grounded, and that's why I go back to Emily the Criminal. You talk about a film that's grounded. You talk about a film that's L.A. You talk about a performance and my God, I love Emily Criminal. I love that movie. Good time. I love films that are gritty, that show an underbelly of the world. Drive is another, obviously, pristine example of that, where we get to see people living below the margin and how are they making it day to day. And, go back to 1001, a film that I like so much of, certainly the feel of the film from last year. I don't love the screenplay. It's too long. No question that film needs to be brought in at 140, 135, not 2 hours. Big mistake by Rockwell on that film. I mean, that's the kind of thing that I really wish this is, I mean this. It's not that I want the money from being able to advise these directors what to do, but if I would have seen 1001, small film focus, got a lot of awards attention actually for the level of film that it was. I will say this, that I would love to have spoken to that director and said, you've got to cut 20 minutes out of this film and we might have a really good film here. But no one did, because again, we live in this world where we don't want to tell people things that are uncomfortable. How many other YouTubers would come on here and tell you what I just said? We're never going to review a movie higher or lower based on representation. No, but that doesn't make me anti-woke. That makes me real. That makes things the way they should be. The scales balanced. I'm a Libra. I've told you guys so many times, it's about balancing the scales, man. It's not about giving advantages. It's about balancing for everybody the same, whether it's representation or not. I don't care. I want to see a good movie. No one else will say these things because they're afraid they're going to cancel. By who? Loser Film Twitter? Fuck them. I'm not worried about you, Film Twitter. If you think films like Problemista are good, the crowd I was listening to today, we have nothing in common, man. We have problems because we're not seeing the world the same way. And I know I'm living in reality. You guys are living in some kind of weird ass fantasy land like that movie Problemista set in. My God. Prediction Eric's gonna be cooking with. Oh my God. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I saw the TV glow. I didn't know. I don't even know what that was. Thief. Yes, of course it's gritty. Listen, Michael Mann. No one is saying Michael Mann doesn't know how to direct a film. He did. He doesn't now. Watch Ferrari. It's that simple. I mean, he tried, but he failed. It's just not a good film. Okay, let's talk about Poor Things. Oh, guys, this is going to get pretty dicey. You guys ready? Okay, whenever I talk about Poor Things, it's time to grab the Poor Things glasses and put them on. So I'm going to try to do this very grounded and not lose it. I feel like tonight I've gotten super intense for sure, but I haven't completely lost it. So I'm trying to stay even more grounded. So I'm going to do this and just say Poor Things officially got past 100 million worldwide. I'm shocked, but I will tell you why. Because of curiosity factor, the fact that everyone says it's great and then they see it and go, my God, no, it's not. And of course, Emma Stone. Emma Stone sells tickets, no question about it. But Poor Things still sucks. Okay, I mean, this isn't even like a question. Poor Things sucks ass. And let me tell you, I'm going to read a couple of things, and then this is going to get fun, guys. This is what no one else will do. You guys ready? Nobody else does what I'm about ready to do. Not a single YouTuber out there, or for that matter, anyone with a podcast like our boy Sean Fantasy, the most overrated film voice on planet Earth, would never dream of going where I'm going because dude doesn't have a nutsack. That's why. Here's what we got. You guys ready? I'm going to contrast the two, and I'm going to hammer this, and I'm going to be right again, and you're all going to be like, Weber did it again. That's all I do. This is from Charlotte Proudman. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her, and here's the thing I want to tell you, because when I retweeted this and said, wow, look, someone else understands this shit. I don't care what your politics are. If your idea and your thought process is correct, in my estimation, I don't care if you're the most raging liberal, the most hardcore MAGA person in the universe. If your logic and what you're saying makes sense to me, I don't care, because I don't put labels on people. I put labels on ideas. Big difference, right? Okay, here it is. This is the most misogynistic film I've seen. A perverse man kidnaps a suicidal woman, then transplants her brain without her consent, all of this true, with the brain of her fetus. She's emancipated by having sex with lots of men, yawn. This film is not avant-garde. It's glorified pedophilia. Okay, so she is, let's get her exact thing. She is an advocate of the year, Women in Law Awards, family law, Cambridge academics. She's left wing, right? She's got to be. She's in Cambridge in England. I almost said Cambridge, Mass, because of course I lived in Boston. I know there's Cambridge is liberal as hell too. Okay, so here's her. Now here's the reply I want to get to, and what I want you to notice. Let's go back to the tweet real quickly. What's the most important part of this? Yes, it's misogynistic, right? That's big. That's the headline. What's the last thing on here? It's glorified pedophilia, right? That is brutalizing. If you are going to defend anything about pedophilia, then we have major issues. Like, these are things that you need to get help for. Okay? So let's watch the reply. Okay? She just said, and I would agree with everything that she says here. I would even go harder, but I'm not going to, because I said I'm going to pull back a little bit. Let's go to Lucy Ford. Here's her reply. She is Lucy Ford. Let's get her credentials quickly. She writes for British GQ and Magic at Musicals and some other random things. She's a writer. Like if a raccoon was also a girl, whatever the fuck that means. Thank you, Lucy. Let's get to the actual tweet. It's cool that let's try again. It's cool that media literacy has got to the point where people basically want some kind of break to camera every 3 seconds for actors to say they don't personally agree with the actions of their characters, like that bit in the gay rights song from Popstar. She's saying, so what she says is she, oh my God, isn't that wild that no one actually came out and she didn't say, I don't agree with any of these things. Okay. But here's the thing. You expect, she just said it's pedophilia, Lucy. Are you saying that we should make a movie about pedophilia and then be what? How do you not address that? That's so problematic. Like, if I'm an actor, this is why I said Emma Stone should not have taken Poor Things, because that's the film. She is a woman implanted with a baby's brain having sex soon after the baby's in her brain. Has a brain in her body. And let me tell you how I know she's still a baby. Oh, well, she grew up quickly. She matured. If she matured quickly, why is her response when she first has sex? Why is it, oh, that feels good. Oh, can we do that thing again? Like a child would say. Can you answer that for me? You can't, because now it's really uncomfortable for you. Because now you're defending a film. It's not misogynistic, but is possibly dealing with a woman, not probably, it is, who has a baby's brain having sex, saying, ooh, that feels good. Can we do that thing again? Like a child would say. That's why I said, Emma Stone, what the fuck were you thinking saying yes to this trash film? And to Yorgos, why would you want to make a movie like this? Answer, you can't. The only answer is, holy shit, that's a bad look. Like, not just a bad look. It's not, listen, guys, Human Centipede's a bad look. Like, but it's also a horror film, and the rules are certainly different in the horror arena. Look at Terrifier and things that happen on the screen. When we start talking about the accusations of a baby-brained woman having sex, now we're moving into something that's indefensible. Do you see? There's not anything you can say to make that right. Therefore, you are stained with making something abhorrent, and that is what Poor Things is. And I'm right. Everybody who's seen the film and admits to truths knows what I just said is absolutely correct. And unfortunately, I'm sorry that it's uncomfortable. I don't know what to tell you guys. You should have seen it when you should have recognized this shit when you saw the movie. It's there. It's not made up. It's literally right in front of your face, and yet people are saying, "Oh, it's the best film of the year." That says so much about you that's not good. Like, you guys understand that, right? If you're going to hold that up as one of your films of the year, I have to now question every moral decision that you've ever made, and I certainly don't want to see the skeletons that come out of your closet. It's that simple. It's really simple. If Emma hadn't said yes, what other remarkable actress would have said yes? Mia Goth, probably Mia Goth. She's perfect. Mia Goth would actually be even better than Emma Stone. I don't know if she'd do the human. Listen, I think Emma Stone's fine in the role. Again, here's the deal. We are extracting performance. It's like Joaquin Phoenix in The Abomination That Is Beau Is Afraid. He's still good. Emma Stone's solid in this film. That's not, no one said like it's bad performance, right? But it's the idea. Remember what I said about me not wanting to put my name on a product that I didn't agree with? That's what I'm saying. Like, don't you at some point ask these questions? Like, would you have said yes to it? I guess that's the thing. Because I know after reading that script, if I were in Ruffalo's situation, I'd say no. Wait, what? You're doing what? No. I'm going to pass. Yorgos, hit me up on the next film. Give me, when you get to another favorite, even a lobster, whatever it is, just let me see that. I'm going to pass on this Poor Things because I have a feeling, if I'm talking like Ruffalo after reading the script, I have a feeling that even if this film is cherished when it comes out, over time, history will not be kind to this film, and I don't want to be associated with it. That's what's going to happen. It's starting to happen. It's going to break. The dam's going to break. We've seen that happen during the COVID stuff, right? The COVID started, and then all of a sudden the dam broke, and now it's like, oh my God, everything's coming out. That's the point here, is that now, once you've done that, it's like, it's going to break. It's going to break, and it's going to... Listen, Clockwork Orange, correct. And same with, listen, go back again to Terrifier. There's just certain things, and I go back to a movie called, was it called Hobo with a Shotgun? Remember Bobcat Goldthwait's movie? In that movie, he has a baby get blown away by a shotgun. And I said, that's it. Like, you can't cross those lines. You go back to that movie... God, what was that Neon movie that was directed by the dude who just did the last one? What's his name's kid? My God, help me out, guys. The Visualizer movie, the Neon movie. Okay, so in that movie, it's going to hit me. Someone in the comments is going to be this movie. In the end of that movie, he's got the visual goggles on, right? And then you've got one of the characters pulling out a gun and blowing this kid away. Like his whole head shatters, like Scanners, right? Like his dad did. And so when it hits it, and I go, we don't show child violence like that. I'm out. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess what I'm troubled at here is that other people don't recognize this or have a problem with it. That's the issue. Is like, how do you not? You have to draw a line somewhere. And for me, like, go back to Roger Ebert and what he talked about with Human Centipede. He said, this is deranged. It's abhorrent. It's all of these things. And he was disgusted by the film. And that for that, that's, you have to have a line where even if you go back to Clockwork Orange, or for me, Terrifier, maybe you admire parts of it, maybe not all of it. But here's the thing, there still has to be a line in art where you just don't cross it. And I get back to Terrifier. The film is amazing when you look at just Art the Clown and the menace that character possesses. But the problem with Terrifier is when we go and we lose all humanity. I mean, horror film is about, yes, Silence of the Lambs, talk about losing humanity, but there's still some restraint, right? Even if it's still brutalizing, there's still restraint. Terrifier is X, right? It's NC-17. It's the violence is out of control. It's mayhem. It's orgiastic. And then I think you lose the humanity. And I think that's the thing about Poor Things that I don't grasp, is how people think this is like a humanity film. It's disturbing. It's abhorrent. And it's sad to me that people watch that and think it's funny and this is like a celebration of life in some way. It's not. And I just want, still, at the end of the day, I want my films to have a shred of humanity in them. And don't tell me Bella at the end. It's just an unpleasant film. And I just weep for people that think that that's a great film. I do. There's no other way to put it. That's all I do here is just speak what I believe to be true, and I think that that it's 100% accurate. Both Emma and Yorgos have responded to backlash saying that if you take the film literally, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's the way out every time, Bodhi. That's the way out every time. Oh, it's just an allegory. You can't. No, we're not going to live in that. I'm not going to live. I had this discussion earlier with somebody, and I said, I'm not going to live in a world where I'm being told that if you say something, I have to go along, right? And I'm not going to get into the whole sex thing and pronouns. I'm just going to tell you, I don't have to play along with your fantasy. I don't have to do that. You don't have to play along with me. If I don't like a film, you can say you're wrong, Eric. That's fine. I'm going to tell you you're wrong, but I don't have to play along where someone tells me, oh, it's an allegory. It's not reality. No. We're not playing that. We're not going to play a game where someone gets to say, oh, it's not what you think. No. If it's other people see it, don't tell me that. Bodhi, I think we got to get rid of you, buddy. It's just everybody. Let's take a vote. You guys, everybody on the stream right now, let's vote. Does Bodhi get banned or does Bodhi get to stay? Everybody gets a vote right now. Come in. Does Bodhi get banned or does Bodhi get to stay? And if he gets to stay, we'll put him in timeout for a little while. Real quickly, I either want banned or stay. Banned or stay. Bodhi, you cannot vote. You're not allowed to vote in this. Thank you. Infinity Pool, and it was Possessor. Nice job, Mark. I knew somebody would have my back as soon as I said it. Let's go, guys. Does Bodhi get to stay or does he get to leave? Because, you know why, Frush? Because we need to open up eyes. We need to open people's minds up that this film is trash. That's why I keep talking about it. It's to hopefully one day bang on someone and wake them up and go, my God, he's right. That's it. That's why. It's that simple. It's that simple, Frush. It's that simple. No one wants to vote on Bodhi. Fine. We'll go to the next guy. I already talked about embrace the hate. I 100% believe that. Let's go to tonight's kid. It's Manchester City. They win the derby today and 3-1, right, over United. So one of my favorite ones here. This is I believe it's the Ibiza. This is from a few years ago, this kit. It's one of my favorites. It's got lots of different colors going on. I just dropped my mouse. Give me like 5 seconds to grab it. That's the first time that's ever happened. The first time I knocked my mouse off live here on MMT on this Sunday night. So let's go real quickly. Bodhi's out. Hamza, that's it. Stay. We can't punish free speech. That's true. Well, it's my show. I guess I can I? Bottoms does suck. I hate that movie. After PT, I'm not looking forward to Yogurt's new film with Emma coming out this year. Also, guys, can we just ask the question? Is it weird that Yorgos and Emma I've talked about it before. If I was Emma's husband, I'd be deeply uncomfortable with their relationship, to put it as mildly as possible. Deeply uncomfortable. It just doesn't feel, listen, you've seen in every movie, right, where they go to like the office party and they meet the guy who works with somebody and they're like, oh, the two of them, they seem to have a little chemistry. I wonder if there's something going on. And what happens in every movie? They are fooling around on the side. What was the one where Kevin Bacon was the guy? What was he was the office guy. It was a good film. I'm literally drawing a blank right now. There's always that's what it is. That's what Yorgos and Emma's relationship is like. If I'm Emma's husband, I'm like, this is like that relationship where Kevin Bacon was the office guy. What movie was that? What was the Presumed Innocence, another good one, right? Remember, was that Harrison Ford, right? That was very good, where he was cheating and the wife ends up, oh, that was so good. It was a Dune stream. Fine, we'll go back. I already did Dune, dude. We did Dune. We do like 15 minutes of Dune. What do you want? You want an hour of Dune? We already did it. This show's got other things to talk about. Crazy Stupid Love. That was the cheating. That was correct. Thank you. That's it. Damn it, Rusty. I didn't even think it was amazing, but there's parts of that movie I like. That's right. Kevin Bacon was cheating with what's-her-ass from May, December. My brain's fried at this point. And then, yeah, exactly. That's what Yorgos and Emma. It's exactly. Bolero. Yeah, John and Bo Derek. I'm telling you, directors and leading ladies, tradition. Yeah, exactly right, Johnny. It's not a politics stream. It's sort of, we wade into those waters, but it never counts when you're famous. Is that true? If he cheat? I guess it's kind of true for Hollywood. I would be uncomfortable with it. That's all I'm telling you. I'd be uncomfortable. Why are you always working with Yorgos? Although, truthfully, if I'm her husband, let's just be honest too. If you look at Yorgos Lanthimos, you'd be like, not a good looking guy. You wouldn't, no one would say, there's a Lothario, look at the Yorgos Lanthimos, right? Like if you were to show me, even Denis, maybe, Nolan more so for sure. You know what I mean? Just like a suave guy. Yorgos, I'd be like, nah, I'm not worried about that guy. That's the guy you got to worry about. Oh my God. Kristen Stewart and Rupert Wyatt. Was that right? God, that's been a long time. That's been a really long time. All right, it's open comment time unless I find another topic that I missed tonight. I think I got to everything. It's my show. I'll do what I want. We talked about Dune. Sorry. It is what it is. Welcome to the channel. I think we're going to go Bodie out. I don't know where Bodie went, but we'll just let Bodie simmer for a little. I haven't hit the button yet, but he is a handsome director, isn't he, Johnny? He's a good-looking guy, and he's British, correct? Nolan's British. I pray he is. I know I've heard him in interviews, but I'm like, let's find out. I don't think I've ever done that research. But when you look at Suave, Christopher Nolan pops in. Definitely not Tarantino. Tarantino, listen, he has a super hot wife. If Tarantino were not a famous director, he wouldn't have the right. I mean, come on, right? It's like that in Hollywood. I have this theory. There's no question that guys get into rock bands or become famous in any way, shape, or form. A lot of rock guys, though, right? So they can get girls because they would never see those girls otherwise. You look at the lead singer of Coldplay, Chris Martin, right? Look at Chris Martin and look at Gwyneth Paltrow. In no universe would those two be together unless he was the front man for the biggest band on the planet at one time, and maybe still one of the biggest bands for sure, Coldplay. You know what I mean? You look at that, the guy from Muse who got with Kate Hudson. It's like, what? Like, the reason that these guys become band people or famous in some way, they're like, I can get the girls that I can never get. This is why I don't worry about becoming famous, because I can get the girls how it is. I don't have to worry about it. You know what you see what I'm saying? There's no incentive for me to be famous. I already have what I need. Do you see? Exactly. Chris Martin's with Dakota, another girl that he would never have if not for being the man from Coldplay. Tim Burton, Monica Bellucci. My God. Monica Bellucci at one time is that how you say her name? I don't think I've ever said her name or heard anyone ever say her name. She is dropped dead when she was like 30 something. And I'm not suggesting when you get old, you get uglier. Don't come after me. I'm not 25 anymore, dude. So don't come after me for that shit. When she was like 35, she was mint. I mean, she was like, wasn't Spielberg? Everybody was into Monica Bellucci. She was so hot. You can go back to Catherine Zeta-Jones in her heyday. Oh my God. Like what? Like, Heather Locklear, TJ Hooker. Oh, I mean, someone's going to cut that out. That'll be like used. Pete Davidson, perfect example of a dude who's not good looking. I mean, he's not, right? If he was just a guy that you ran into at the mall or at the grocery, you'd be like, who the hell is that? Oh, shit, look at these women that are with Pete Davidson. Because he's rich. He's funny. I like Pete Davidson. He's great in King of Queens. Or King of Staten King of Staten Island. Close enough. King of Queens. And that oh my God, it's a terrible sitcom. Trish Stratus was so hot. Oh my God. And Sunny. I mean, go back to Sunny in the day, right? Remember, before she even got to WWF, she was in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and she was so hot. She was Chris Candido's girlfriend. And then she, just like Emma and Yorgos, they move up the ladder, and she started cheating with Shawn Michaels, and then Candido was off to the side, and he got screwed. Lyle Lovett and Julia Roberts. See, you guys understand this connection here. Rick Ocasek, someone said, right? Remember, yes, and Paulina Poroskova. 100%. No question. So many A-list actors would have met and read the PT script, met Yorgos and said hard pass. Exactly. I think Tori Wilson was, oh my God. Didn't Alex A-Rod was all over that? She was so, was that Trish Stratus? He was in so many hot chicks. It's called magnetic interaction. You got to make it happen where other, well, whatever. No, It's not. And I told you guys the truth. The truth of the situation is this. I love being a single guy and not dealing with any bullshit. I do whatever I want in my life, and I like that. Like, I don't have to answer to someone going, tonight we're going to go. No, we're not. I'm going to the movies, and I'm going to go see Terrifier 2. And there's, what? I don't want to see that. Too bad. I'm going. Goodbye. The relationship's over. I just don't have time anymore. I was married at one point. I've moved on. I don't want it anymore. I have no interest. Zero interest in a relationship, because it's going to mean being tied down at some level where I can't just run off to the movies. I can't run off to the gym. I can't run off to play volleyball. I got to answer to this woman going, whatever. I don't care. I'm leaving. You can't stop me. Jack Nicholson was the perfect combination, right? Total Lothario, but had the looks too. Like, look at Leo. Now, we all make fun of Leo, certainly for dating, 20-year-old girls. Leo's 50, okay? Leo should not be dating 20-year-old. That's weird. I don't want to date a 20-year-old girl. That's creepy. It's weird. What are you talking about? What do you guys do? What are we doing here? It's right, but that's his thing. He can do it. Good-looking guy, rich, one of the most famous people on the planet. He's going to get away with that. He's gotten a little bit heavier as he gets older, but he's not like a giant Jabba the Hutt looking dude, right? So he can right. So if you're famous and good looking, then you're talking about anything you want. It's the smorgasbord. You wouldn't even want to, you just be like, I'm just going to go here and here and here. It's like Tinder, only with all amazing looking people, right? Not the typical not that I know, not that I use Tinder, but my point being, they use that app that's only for rich people. What's that thing called? It's weird how he doesn't want to hang out with a girlfriend who's like even sort of in his age, like 40, 35, 40, 20. Like, what are you guys, again, they're looking at TikTok videos. What are we doing here? What are we doing? All right, we're almost up on the hour. We're almost done. That was fun. It was a wild stream like we always like to have. And I think that, again, we showcase what we're capable of doing here, is being able to go in so many different directions and still somewhat be coherent in what we're discussing. Hopefully sometimes be directly over the target, as I believe we are most of the time. Sometimes we might be a little off, but in general, I think the show's pretty much dead on. And I don't think we're going to do a show this coming week on Thursday. There's nothing out. It's Dune 2's second Thursday. Unless something huge happens in the middle of the week that we have a reason. Otherwise, just next Sunday, man. It's easy for me to get into these Sunday night shows. Plus, my back's still jacked. Hopefully, please, guys, say some good words. Say a prayer for me tonight, my back. It's super annoying at this point. My neck is like, dude, stop hurting me. I think I've had like a herniated disc. Anyone ever had a herniated disc? I feel like I have that. Now, by the way, I'm turning into like, these are the things I don't say on Twitter because I'm on here and I'm like, whatever, I'll say what I need to say. On Twitter, my neck doesn't hurt. Everybody say something kind. Like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I just say it here. Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, I mean, same thing. Sydney Sweeney. Let's just quickly, as we leave, let's just watch a quick Sydney Sweeney video. Because why not? I'm sure she's trending on Twitter. Let's find a Sydney Sweeney. I think it's all the same video, right? It's always the same thing. We know what we're about ready to see. Here it is. And this is the first thing that comes in, and we pop it up, and she was trending, and this is why. I mean, God, every time. But listen, we're allowed. You know why we're allowed to sit here and do this? Because listen, you don't wear a dress like that if you're not trying to call attention to it. She's very proud of her assets. And there's nothing, she should be. We all should be. It's why I post shirtless pictures at the gym. Why not? So if she wants to show off her assets, she can. I mean, every single one. Here she is. This is her. Again, look at this. A different.
You might have seen me in Anyone But You or Euphoria. You definitely did not see me in Madam Web.
We did. We love the movie. No, we hate it. Let's see if there's anything else. She was apparently on SNL last night. I don't watch SNL. I'm sure she was fine. But yeah, every single video is the same thing. Look, here's another one. Every time. Has she ever been in something that's not, of course, she plays a Hooters waitress. I mean, it's the same thing. She's typecast. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what she is? She's 2024's Heather Locklear. Only Heather Locklear didn't have a movie career, so she's advanced past that. But did Sydney Sweeney have an awesome episodic television show called TJ Hooker? No, I don't think so. So who wins that? That's Heather Locklear for the win. I mean, TJ Hooker, Adrian Zemed? You kidding me? One of the best shows ever. I love that show. I also like the Richard Grieco show. Booker. You guys remember Booker? Oh my God. I'm so showing my age. So be it. That's it. She's the Gen Z Monica Bellucci. No, she's got blonde hair. She can't be. All right, guys, that's going to do it live from LA. I appreciate everyone being here. We'll be back next Sunday for sure. I haven't used this in a while, but for now, MMT.